Well, it's Tuesday after Memorial Day, so first and foremost, I want to say thank you to the veterans and um, make sure I recognize the people that lost their lives in the active service for our country. I know it's been a few weeks, but I've had a lot of stuff going on. We had a vacation. I immediately went right back to work after the vacation. So the big updates are we've got some new parts, so we're going to unbox some stuff, and the goal is hopefully to kind of finish tying up the front end so I can put wheels on this thing and then I can actually flip it around, because we also have the rear disc conversion kit for the car, so I can maybe pull out the rear end, clean that up, and get the rear disc conversion done on that and move forward on the brake system, and then that'll pretty much be the end of suspension stuff for a little while. But we're going to take a look at those parts today, see what we're getting into, because I haven't looked at the instructions, I haven't looked at anything like that so far, and I have a lot of work to do this week before I go to work next week. So let's see what goes on. Got to pull out the little portable sauna here. Luckily it's light. I need to find my mounts for my camera for my tripod. I don't know where those are right now. So I'm going to go look at those so I can maybe set up so you guys can see things a little bit better. Okay, welcome back. So I ordered the rack and pinion and sway bar kit from Church Boys Racing. So I haven't even taken a look. I haven't had a chance to look at any of the directions or anything like this, but hopefully it'll be just as easy as the installation on a lot of other stuff, which might require me to actually undo maybe the lower control arm or something like that in the process, but we shall find out. This is not intended to be an ASMR. Okay, so this first box got my invoice. Being that I already had other parts for the car, usually this comes for the kit with the lower control arms, or when you order this kit on their website, it comes with a lower control arm. So I had to email them separately to go, hey, I already have these. Can we do something about this and just get the rack and pinion sway bar kit? So already very well packaged. We've got some hardware. We've got the rack and pinion actually like plastic case right here, with, it looks like a cross brace as well, which is awesome. So let me get this, let me show you guys what we're looking at with this. Okay, so opening this up, we see a couple things. So we have this guy, which is going to be the cross member for the rack. We have the rack itself. We have the Borgeson joints for the steering shaft. Also, they came with new steering arms, which I didn't know that this was going to be a thing. So these are the new steering arms for the rack and pinion. So I'm going to have to remove the old ones in the process, and that's okay. It is what it is. I mean, it's always nice to get some fresh parts, especially that are um, beautiful and billet like this. And they're lighter, they're nicer, they're probably more precise than the cast arms that are the factory steering knuckles. So that's one thing I'm going to have to pull back off. But hopefully, they included some fresh hardware with that, which I think they did. So we'll see about that. The one thing that I will say, which could have been an error on my behalf, is I don't see a sway bar. Um, when I contacted them, generally their kits on the website come with the sway bar. And when I contacted them saying, hey, I already have the lower control arms, I want to get the rack and pinion kit for it. Well, maybe it's because I specified rack and pinion kit that they did not think about adding the sway bar. So I don't know how I feel about this because this wasn't necessarily a tremendous discount price wise from the whole kit to just get this. So I got to do a little bit more research into this before I get too far ahead. So one thing that I noticed is we have a couple little casting flaws inside the bore for the rack mount. So I'm going to get some photos of this and send them over to Church Boys, because if this is a stress issue and I put this car through its paces, this could be something that breaks. And I don't need steering braking and becoming uncontrollable while on track down the road. So I'm going to have to sort this out, but it is what it is. These things happen sometimes. Now, of course, we need to be able to steer this thing. So they sent their I Did It steering column. Now, I got all of this stuff for a manual kit. I do not intend on running power steering on this car. We are running power brakes on this car, and the intention is for as much feedback as possible, because I do want to get this on some road courses and stuff like that. So I am okay with taking the hard road in this way. But let's take a look at the steering column. Now, what we have is their brushed stainless steering column. It comes with a relay system for the flashers or turn signals. It also has these billet signal levers and so on. So it's pretty cool. The intention will probably be to keep it this brushed finish, because it'll, for one, if it does get a little scuffed up or dirty, it'll be really easy to maintain, to keep nice. But also, the car is not intended to be the most beautiful thing in the world. It's intended to be pretty nasty, and to be driven pretty hard. So that's kind of where that's at. But I'm excited to see this stuff go on the car. I'm not going to do the steering column for a little bit because we still have the transmission assembly stuff to worry about. So I'm going to get the rack and pinion on. I'm going to get all the steering hooked up so I can, and then I got to finish putting the brakes on so I can put wheels and tires on and move around. But when it comes to actually putting this together, I'm going to wait until I get a lot of the underdash stuff done first. I can just manually steer this from the front wheels and do what needs to be done. Driveway project, right? So I guess maybe the next thing is to get started. I just sent Church Boys Racing my email in regards to the power rack, or sorry, the manual rack with the flaws on the bushing recesses for the castings. I also inquired about the sway bar. So I initially ordered it with an inquiry to go without the steering column and manual and no lower control arms because I already have those. And the challenge is the fact that in they quoted me like $1,700, and I was like, oh well, how about with the steering column? And then they said, okay, well that'll be $595. So it ended up being like $2,318, something like that before tax, and then $2,500 and some change with shipping. And I was fine with that, but that was still in an assumption that it included the sway bar. Now, mind you, I'm only $500 and something short of the entire kit cost for $2,900 before tax, including the sway bar, including lower control arms. And the challenge with that is the fact that without the lower control arms themselves only are $750. So there's a discrepancy there. And I was like, hey, look, I paid you guys this much for this. I did not get a sway bar with this kit. That doesn't make sense to me. Can you guys give me a little bit of information as to why? So right now I'm hoping to see some response, giving some information on that. So stand by, I guess, before I can even really move forward. Also, I inquired about why it was that their instructions were off from what I received, and the billet arms on their instructions say CBR. These ones don't say CBR. They say USA on them. So did they send me the right ones? Is that a generic set that they use for a kit that they make for somebody else? I don't know, but they hit my backing plates. So what do I do about that? Hopefully we'll find some answers.